Cool Nerds Unite is on the air. I'm Roderick.
And I'm Justin.
I'm feeling the beat.
And I am Carol, guest starring as the coolest person in the room.
AKA Justin's girlfriend is in the building.
The building.
And we are here to talk about Game of Thrones. This is our first Game of Thrones episode. I know we've mentioned it previously. That is something that we wanted to discuss. A lot of fans have said, hey, you should talk about Game of Thrones, man. And finally, we're doing it.
Yes. Bring on Jon Snow and Daenerys. Why not?
All right, man. That's the topic of discussion. Everybody like, ooh.
That's your auntie?
Your auntie, the Iron Throne. It's like, how you gonna figure that out? Because Daenerys doesn't look like she's ready to not be queen.
Yeah.
So.
No.
That's her first thought.
What you think, Carol?
That makes you next in line for the throne. I'm like, not that you're my nephew. That does not concern you.
That's why I said the first thing she said.
She doesn't care about the incest.
It's my power is in question now.
Yeah, you're the first one in line for the throne. Like, what? That means that I'm your nephew. You're my auntie. Like,
keep in mind.
Where's that discussion of incest?
So, Carol, what do you think about the whole Jon Snow Daenerys relationship?
I ship it because the Targaryens have always been incestuous to the point where they marry each other's siblings. Yeah. So this is just maybe like a little detachment. Their kids aren't going to become, somewhat disfigured from incest, thankfully.
Don't become a Joffrey.
That was the whole discussion of the father.
Mm-hmm.
That he was, was it Aerys? What was his name?
Yeah, Aerys.
Yeah. Aerys Targaryen or Errol Targaryen was the Mad King because of all the incest that happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully
there's a
little bit more DNA to work with.
Right. I'm just like, man.
Will have a problem. I'm so used to calling him Jon Snow. Do you think he's going to have a problem with the whole situation being as such?
I think he's just more so worried of what this means for him in the line of succession because he said he doesn't want to be king. That was his first reaction to it.
Now that people know that if anyone finds out that he's like the rightful owner of the throne, now everyone's pressing it on him now at this point. Because they honestly, outside of the people that like the Dothraki horde and the slaves and the, the Unsullied, there aren't that many people who just necessarily endorse, Daenerys like that. For one, she kind of strong-arming a lot of folks at this point with them dragons. It's like they're like a lot of people kind of giving her flack ever since she burnt the Tellys like that. Some Turleys. I was like, because at the end of the day, you didn't have to do it. It's like they couldn't do anything to you.
All right. Turleys.
The Turleys. I was saying that. Sorry, I'm sorry. The Turleys, but they couldn't do anything to you. So it's like it's nothing for you to just capture them. Eventually, they're going to come around. They're going to come around like the Jon Snow tactics, where he got all of his enemies turn and become his allies.
Except for the ones that killed him.
Yeah. Well, those weren't really his allies from the beginning. He couldn't transition them to see his perspective at all.
Yeah.
But
they were more loyal to the Night's Watch.
Well, they're more loyal to their own way of thinking, their old-fashioned way of thinking, instead of broadening their logic. If we don't save these people, they're going to come and kill us. They'll be part of the Night King's army. Do we really want to fight against them? Just us?
Right.
And Jon Snow saw the bigger picture. Aegon Targaryen saw the bigger picture.
Indeed.
Previously known as.
Previously, right. It's like the bigger picture, and that's what it really comes down to. And it's like,
his whole thinking, like his whole mindset is the Iron Throne is the last thing that he thinks about. He thinks about his people. He thinks about the betterment of the society in which he grew up in. He's not thinking about betterment for himself and only himself. Daenerys, she wants to better other people, but she also wants power.
Yeah. I think she's power hungry. What do you guys think?
Oh, absolutely.
She's thirsty for some power.
Power. More power.
She wants also recognition that she deserves it. And she wants people to say, thank you. Like, she was waiting for Sansa to say, thank you for bringing all these people. But when she said that, she's just like, I want the North too. I want it all.
Like, my people were all like, you burned our king before.
Exactly.
And our people have already said, we are not going to bow to anyone anymore.
Right, exactly.
And
so
she takes her hand off of her hand, is like, okay, so this discussion's over.
Yeah, it is.
Well, she tried to find common ground, but that common ground fell flat or just broke apart.
Because at the end of the day, only thing Daenerys understands right now is bend the knee. So it's like,
to show your fidelity.
And it's like, honestly, a lot of people, I think in the end game, it's going to be the Stark family that comes out on top. I talked with Roderick about this earlier. I was saying like the leadership behind his team. It's like what Jon Snow lacks in his political mind, he makes up for with his sister. What he lacks for in silent and just like silent, you know what I'm saying, just kind of reconnaissance, he has with Arya. You know what I'm saying? He has with Arya. It's like whereas Daenerys is not a fighter herself. She's not a tactician herself. She's not a politician herself.
Right.
Everything she does, she has to find somewhere within her camp.
She has Tyrion. She has Jorah.
And even now, she's starting to listen to them less and less. So
she gets even more angry as people defy her, and that just is not how you rule a country. You have to be able to listen to people, and she doesn't want to. She just wants the throne, and she wants to be loved and feared and all of it. She just wants to have control, and some things are outside of your control.
Exactly. It's like at the end of the day, her and Jon both have undergone some serious trauma, but you could tell that it affected her in a way that she hasn't come to grips with it just yet.
Yeah, because she, remember in like her monologue, she kept on saying, I had to look out for myself. I had to do these things. I had to believe in Daenerys.
Yes, exactly.
To be able to get what I want. So she, believing in herself, forgot that she needs to believe in other people to do the right thing by her, and just to trust other people. She could trust Sansa. Sansa will keep the North high and tight. If she just says, go ahead, you take care of the North, I'll take care of the West, and then we'll just do a truce.
We'll work together.
But
we'll
she
work
never
together.
got that answer from her. She said, what about the North? Never gave her no answer.
She's just like, because they got interrupted by a Greyjoy.
Oh man, Theon has about like a good great redemption story.
So okay,
my
thing
goodness
is that every character who has a finished up arc is probably gonna die.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like
probably.
Well, he led to the death of his brother essentially. So now he's gonna sacrifice himself.
I'm like, Theon, I would have to say Theon made the best comeback ever. First of all, let's talk about that axe to the face that my man's got on the boat.
Oh my goodness! So you know why no one screamed, no one like sounded the alarm? Is because they were all their tongues were all cut out and they were all mutes. That's why they couldn't talk. So their uncle doesn't like people talking, doesn't like people conspiring, so he cuts off their tongues.
Which is the dumbest. Which honestly is the dumbest. That clearly did not work out in your favor.
No,
because we're just going to sneak you at night when you can't say anything. Then he killed some people off in the Gold Company. What kind of those people are supposed to be helping your queen. To help Cersei. Like, right? Why would you do that?
And she still had sex with them anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
But you know what? What was so funny about that scene afterwards? So I know you peeped it out, Carol. When he after he had sex with her, he said, I'm gonna put a baby in your belly.
A prince. That's what he
prince
said.
In your belly.
So and then she made a look like,
I already have one in my belly.
Maybe.
It's a possibility. I think so. You don't think so? No. How you guys chime in?
I don't know, man. I don't think that she might be pregnant. She might be pregnant, but think about it. It's like, does she need to be pregnant again? Look at what happened the last time.
No, she does not.
Joffrey. It's like Joffrey. Joffrey is what makes you never want to have. That
was an incest crazy baby for sure.
Yeah. We talked about that earlier.
And then we was like,
but the other ones were so sweet though. After that one, I think. After like that one out of 4.
You were the one bad egg, basically. Really, really.
He was sour. He was tainted.
And he was so bad to the point, like, I remember the first episode, man. It's like first episode where him and Arya are running around the river and they're playing with the sword. And the guy, like, you know what I'm saying? He's like, oh, how dare you strike my sister and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And he like, and Arya's looking like it's not that serious. You know what I'm saying? It's like you could just kind of calm down. So he does the whole power trip, gets the sword, scratches my man's face, and then, Arya takes it from, Arya's dog comes out of nowhere, bites his hand, takes it from him and stuff.
The dire wolf.
And then he turns into a complete just bi, and on the ground he's like, no, please don't. And then it's like,
kind of remind me of like Malfoy when he just knocked over by the hippogriff. It's like, really, dude?
A coward. He's a coward.
Super coward. That's why if anytime people make a comparison between him and Ramsay always wins. I was like, Ramsay was only a coward when it came to Jon. Is that everyone else just could get it. everyone else could get it. John was the only one that he was like, okay,
he
you
was
kind of
shivering in his timbers for sure.
because he knew John had his number. John had his number for sure.
He did.
He wouldn't plot to play
games. It was so
games.
ironic. He was killed by his own dogs too.
Yeah. Well, it was a pit bull too. I'm offended by that. I'm offended. So badly. No, because like pit bulls are already seen as a negative light, and then all like you saw Dobermans, you saw other kind of breeds, but the first one to take the first chomp is a pit bull. Don't like that. Did not like that at all.
And the biggest one, and the pit bulls were the one they used the most. Like when they were chasing the girl in the white dress through the forest, and he was shooting at her with the arrows. Those were the pit bulls. They're very large, man. I was like,
it should have been one of the dire wolves.
Yeah, but it should have been another animal that is not under persecution and not being told not to have in certain cities.
Right.
So I take it you have a great fondness for pit
I have a
bulls.
pit lab mix at home.
Oh, really?
His name is Lucky. He's the cutest little
Lucky.
pup. He's so sweet.
Lucky.
He's the sweetest dog. Most pit bulls are sweet, but Sansa smiled when she saw that dog tear up Ramses.
Yeah, she did.
Some sad
Which was ridiculous. Oh, they bit his jaw from the beginning.
Yeah, they got his lip, and then they got his jaw and his mouth.
I was like, oh my God. The murder deaths in Game of Thrones have always
whole new level.
We were talking about that too.
The first murder death kill, because I started kind of like before I went back to the beginning and started watching it. I came in.
I can't rewatch some scenes. I just can't.
I came in around season 4.
It makes me so cringe out.
What a different person Tyrion was
Red Wedding?
from season 1 to the time when season 4 came around, when he had to go trial by combat.
Yeah.
He changed into a whole different person after trial by combat had went through. It was like, oh my God, the humbling, man, because he went from slapping Joffrey around and being like a man-ho and all type of stuff like that to now he's like, man, I have seen the light. I'm just trying to
I'm just trying to survive at this point.
I'm just trying to survive and lead the right person to doing the right things. I don't want any more of this lifestyle, man.
He did not have any friends that were willing to fight for him.
No.
I think one of the best, like,
he had a foreigner help.
Look who he had to fight.
Yeah.
Who was going to fight for you?
Not me.
The guy who
The
won
Hound is
still
gone.
lost.
The Hound is gone. He ain't gonna help you.
No.
He would love to. He would have loved to be there.
Look, the
But
Hound
nope.
lost the first time already. So it's like, I'm not getting you to help me.
No, he lost because like he was a child when they fought, but like
Yeah. True.
now he has a vendetta. Now he has purpose. So his arc isn't done. He's gonna be with Arya to kill Clegane.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so it'd be Clegane
That
Ball.
would be
We've
sweet.
been promised Clegane Ball since the whole controversy started. We want to see it, and he has to survive
All day.
the long night,
The long night.
or I'm going to be upset.
Clegane.
So
It's
how
like-
you weigh in on it, Jess?
well, just to bring it back to Tyrion and Tyrion's change, one of my favorite friendships in this series is Tyrion and Varys.
Oh yeah.
Because he makes the eunuch
The dwarf
jokes
and the
he
eunuch.
makes the dwarf
Walk
jokes.
into a bar.
Because I love their friendship, and just Varys is one of my favorite characters. Just because he had one of the earlier seasons, he gets asked, "Hey, what are your allegiances to?" And he's like, "My allegiance is to the realm."
Yeah.
To the people
Yeah.
within
And-
that realm, to
and
the
he's
children that he
yeah.
was once.
And when he gets into it with Dany at one point, Dany's like, "Hey, how can I know that that I can trust you? Because
You're a
we've
dirty
helped-"
spy.
And he's like, "Well, here's the thing: we were both slaves. We both know what it's like.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you straight up when you're doing something that isn't for the best interest of the people."
I remember that.
No, he didn't say straight up. He said that he would, if he saw that she was doing a disservice to the people,
Yeah.
he would do something about it.
Yeah.
And then she said, well, if you're going to do that, you have to be upfront with me, first off, and then try to help me figure out how to make it better.
Well, you just ad-libbed that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You know what?
That was implied. That was implication.
I had a
She told him, you better not do nothing behind my back.
Look,
Or we can have some problems.
guys, I had like a huge concept question. So, what is the purpose of the Night King? What is he trying to accomplish?
Well, his purpose when he was created by the children of the forest was to eradicate man.
Well, he's like death.
Yeah, he's the death that is coming for all men. So that's his purpose. And he feels as though if he completes that purpose, that he will no longer exist and that everything will no longer exist.
So he just feels that's the way he can
That's
die.
what he's created
that's,
for,
That's
and
what he
that's what-
feels like. That's the only way I can die is if I complete this goal. Because
Yeah.
I'm wondering. I'm like, so what do you plan on doing after you turn the whole world into zombies? That
But
because no one's going to be able to oppose you. You rule
You
uncontested.
saw the
No
episode
one's even alive
when
to talk to.
Bran was being asked, what does the Night King want? He's like, an end of things. I am the history. I am the future of all man. I'm the memory. So he's trying to get rid of the memory of man. So it's either the memory that he wants to get rid of is the possibility of eradicating or killing the Night King and stopping him completely, or it's just to erase the fingerprint of humankind.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is he's erasing everything, because at the end he has dragons, giants, wolves, every type of creature you can think of working for him.
Some of them that didn't make it out of the book.
You see it? I'm like, geez, so everything is going to be an undead soldier. Not just man will be eradicated, but all life in general for the most part.
Yep.
And I'm like, really? That's your big end goal?
Yep.
Yeah, we were trying to figure that out. We were talking about it earlier.
The endless night.
Yeah, it's like, oh man.
And what happens if that? What happens if that doesn't make you die?
Then he's just going to be overseeing and being the king of the realm, all 7 realms.
King of ashes.
King of what? You're going to be sitting here on a throne of nothing.
Yeah.
You will rule over over nothing with sentient being, with any type of sentient consciousness, and you will be the only thing by yourself in eternal silence and loneliness.
But there's like a prophecy that there's a prince that is promised, prince or princess that has been promised to end, to stop the night from coming. So it could be Daenerys's and Jon Snow's child,
or Arya's.
Oh yeah, how about that?
Well, hey, I mean, Stag and Wolf finally got together, just like in the first episode. Robert Baratheon was telling Ned Stark, "You have a son. I have a son. You have a daughter. Why don't we just bring our houses together?"
They just didn't know which daughter and son they were talking about yet.
Right,
well, the son that he was talking about wasn't his, but it's just so poetic that the son that he basically promised to Ned Stark's daughter finally did happen.
And it was done, like, that's what I love about that relationship, is it's actually consensual. There's nothing forced about it. And it's just poetically could work out for the best of the
I think most of the issue for people who were watching the episode saw her as a little girl up until that point.
Yeah, well, it's like she started the show when she was 11.
Yeah, but when she was 15, she still had to hide the fact that she was blossoming into a woman. Yeah. And then 16, she still looked like she was 12.
Yeah.
And so when we see her as a woman, it happens really quickly because in the last episode she was
like,
returning
that's
home.
happening. Yeah,
we were happy that she was finally coming home, but we still saw her as a child finally coming home, not as a young woman.
Yeah.
But she was 18.
Yeah.
And, he was a couple years older, but, that's fine. As long as, it wasn't a Ramsey situation.
Age ain't nothing but a number.
Oh. But, okay, let me ask you guys a question. Which character's story arc you're very happy that it has evolved to where it's at right now?
Theon.
Jamie Lannister. Yeah.
Theon, for sure. I'm
both redemption stories.
Yeah, I think Theon for sure. I'm like, because dude, first of all, you had your penis cut off, man. You've been castrated and demoralized, and
his balls. Don't forget.
Okay, my bad.
Kind of testicles.
Kind of get the whole.
Yeah, we got it.
His whole, all of his anatomy.
He's smooth down there.
He's a Ken doll.
He's
been Ken doll.
He's an Unsullied without intentionally trying to be an Unsullied. So it's like
that is
he's because those. So at this point, and now you can tell he came back with a vengeance, because I'm like that guy's face had to be. I'm like that. You saw how deep that was in there when he pulls it. The sound. I was just like, you could tell that's the frustration of like, I can't wait to fight the guy who brought my sister down here, dude. It's like, that's what I'm saying. Eventually, I know that there's a fight that has to happen between them two guys.
Yeah, so it's not done yet. He has to help his sister and stop his uncle.
Yeah.
But hopefully Cersei will kill the uncle before that happens.
I can see that happening.
Yeah, I can definitely see her doing that.
And have Mountain kill him.
Yeah.
Mountain looked like he wanted to kill him anyway.
Like, look,
and it looked
I really want to find out what happens, because there's a fan theory saying like, okay, so Night King's going to send some forces over to King's Landing instead, you know what I'm saying, and get the jump on them.
That's
Cersei might try to use the Mountain to defend her, but he's a dead guy. So
undead versus undead.
Unless he can be taken over by the Night King, because he's you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he uses the Night King, like the Night King uses the Mountain to do what he did to my man's, like to that lady's husband who would have beat him.
Which also makes me curious. Where's the undead dragon?
Serious fan theory.
Where's the undead dragon going? Is that undead dragon going to King's Landing? Or
he's going to King's Landing. He's going to go to King's Landing, and the weapon that they were going to use to kill the dragon, to kill the original dragon, won't kill him because he's
It's not laced with dragon glass
or Valyrian steel.
Yep, and and they don't know, they don't have that, and he's an undead dragon, so they
know that now. Hopefully, they use some dragon glass or something to help protect themselves.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because they did.
Because they are trying to prepare also for the undead forces that might surpass the North, but also because we haven't seen anything in the last couple episodes really about what the preparingness is. They're just Cersei is not just focused on the living that might come her way. She's also focusing on the dead.
Yeah, that's why she's on the water now. She's aware that they can't swim, so you're pretty safe out there unless he flies over your head and blows blue fire down on you.
Which I think is going to happen.
Yeah, I'm just like,
But what?
I can see that setup coming.
But what if this happens? What if the Night King kills Cersei and she becomes the Night Queen?
But that is not how her prophecy from the witch that was when she was a child said that she would have 3 children and gold will be their shrouds and they will all die. But not by her husband. Like, it's very specific what this woman says, and she will be killed by a little brother or sister.
Which would be Arya?
Either Arya, Jaime, or Tyrion. So the little brother could be when he turns to a White Walker, Tyrion, or
maybe
Jaime.
Remember what he said in the last episode, about, what if I happen to be murdered or killed and become a living dead or a walking dead and go and kill her.
Oh man, that fire scene, that fireside scene before the battle, so much to talk about that happens there.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
That was nice.
Dude, man, it was some wonderful scenes. Like, okay, so some scenes that you were deeply satisfied. Like, for me, one of the most satisfying scenes was seeing Joffrey die. Because he had, I'm serious, like the amount of dirt this guy, man, I couldn't. I hate characters like him where it's like you're so cruel, but you're such a coward, dude. It's like you are the cruelest of cruel type dudes. But the moment someone can challenge you, dude, you just
you crumble.
Yes, immediately, like
a little egg.
Dude, it's so ridiculous, man. And so I was like, I'm sorry, man. I had to see him get up out of there. Yeah. And then there's still some fan theory of who was the one who actually had help killing him. They were thinking that possibly, what was it? Cersei's father helped in some type of way to get him because he never liked him. He never liked him.
Oh yeah, he was.
He never liked Joffrey. Matter of fact, like I said, first episode when he found out, when he made a big deal and had Arya punished, by the Stark family, like, I want to make sure that she gets punished for this. And then he looks at you, was like, man, you let this girl disarm you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, you know what I'm saying? I'm done with you already. But yeah.
Yeah, but the Lannisters have always been about their family and their own. That's why he never killed Tyrion, even though he brought shame for being a dwarf, being born a certain way, and killing his wife. Yeah. Also, Tyrion might be a Targaryen.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because in the books, he's described to have like lighter hair than his brother and sister.
Which he does.
And also the way there's only 3 people that you see walk up to dragons and the dragons are just like, okay, I'm cool with this. Jon Snow, Tyrion, and obviously Daenerys.
Yep.
And the fact that Tyrion is just like goes up to the dragon, takes the lock off, pets it. It's like, whoa. This dragon is super chill with Tyrion.
Yeah. Yes. And he was telling a story. He was saying when he was a child, he asked
name day.
Yeah. He asked for his uncle to give him a dragon. He didn't care if it was big. It could be just small like him. So his dream has always been with the Targaryen dream, which is having a dragon and warging a dragon, being part of the dragon. But no, and also, I guess with Targaryen men, every time a child is born from outside of a Targaryen woman, they die. So Jon Snow's mother dies, and then Tyrion's mother dies. And then there's a lot of seduction around the time that he was conceived from the Mad King, I think. Or like the Mad King's brother. A lot of intrigues going on. So it's a lot of rumors that she had an affair with one of the Targaryens and conceived a child.
Well, you know what? I think the next few episodes, I want to see some fighting.
Well, yeah.
This last episode was so disappointing. It was like a filler.
Really?
It was that last episode was
disappointing.
Both of them were.
But at least the first one was a little bit better. You know, understand? It's everyone's coming together. The plan's going to be made. Okay, everyone's talking their stuff. It's cool. But the second episode, I was like, all right, man, this is just dragging right now. It's like, come on, it really was.
I like
it's really
We're
dragging.
a little impatient, are we not?
A lot impatient, man. It's like because I'm like, geez.
The fight is not supposed to be the pivotal moment of the series. We've been watching these people grow and interact with each other and have intrigues and you know, backstab, all this stuff happening for the throne. And that's what we want to see. Like the Night King was always in the back burner of all these episodes, and now finally it's coming, and it just feels
Winter
like
is here.
Winter.
Yes, it
It's
is.
not
it
coming
just
anymore.
it is coming. It's not
Winter
here
has
yet
come.
because
And it
we're still
feels mighty
waiting
cold.
2 episodes.
It feels mighty.
We only have 3 left. Like, if you think about it, it's hurry up. Like,
Bring on
what
the
is happening?
carnage.
Yeah.
I want this because it's making me uncomfortable. It's making me nervous. I just want to know who lives and who dies as quickly as possible so I can move on
Yes.
with my life.
I'm very anxious about it.
Yeah.
And I
You
might
know-
rage quit. I don't know.
You know what? The surprising death for me for the last episode was Lord Umber.
Yes,
Yeah.
Lord Umber, the
Umber's
little
death.
Ned Umber.
Yeah.
Ned Arc.
Dude, that
Yeah,
was
Ned Arc.
sick.
but his death was the most shocking.
Sick.
I
It
knew
was-
he would die.
That
As soon as I
whole-
saw
He's
him.
gonna die.
Dang, that's messed
Okay,
up,
first
dude.
off, okay,
It was
so
a very
you know,
brutal.
that's messed up.
uncommon. Okay, so when you see scenes like come out and come together, you know that the wall has fallen. You know that the first hearth, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Is like first in line to get hit real hard by the Night King.
Yeah.
And they don't have any defenses up. There's no one. Everyone's trying to scramble to get to Winterfell.
Right.
And so
Winterfell.
this kid is safe in, Winterfell right now. And then Sansa's like,
get your people."
where's your
Yeah,
people?
yeah.
And he's like, we need more carriages. And it's just like, okay, why are you sending him to go?
Yeah.
He's the head of his family.
wow.
Why didn't you just send his underlings to go?
Right. Or why couldn't they just ask Bran and be like, yo, Bran, is this a safe thing to do? Are they on their way? And he just could have just been like, nah, they're gone.
Yeah, and that'd be it. Like, you won't be able to make it.
Yeah.
You'd be
Wow.
done.
Yeah,
That was just
It
horrible.
was. I was like, when I seen it, the whole visuals behind it with the
that
legs and
spirals,
arms.
yeah.
I was like, oh man,
Twisted.
Let me ask
It's
you
ru-
guys
it's
something.
hard to
Isn't
look
that a
at. It's really hard to
Targaryen
look at.
symbol, though?
No,
Yeah,
it's
man.
It's from the children.
it's Children of the Forest.
The Symbol?
Yeah, that's what that's
Oh,
from.
that
Because
just-
in the beginning episodes in the first couple seasons, they also
Okay.
went back to that along with like the king of the wildlings.
Like they're- like
he's
there's
like,
the
oh,
tree with
they're little
the
artists.
spiral.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're little artists. But that was
Wow.
from above. This is the first one that's specifically for the realm of men.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a shocking death for me. And
wasn't
see his
surprised.
eyes open up like that.
Yeah,
like,
man.
oh, he's
It was
boy.
just nasty, man. It was
And
bad.
he's screaming. Oh,
Like I said, the only thing worse than that was when I saw the mountain crush my man's head, and it was just
like a watermelon.
to giblets,
A
man.
melon.
I was like, goodness, it exploded. His head exploded on the ground. I was like, goodness, and it was so crazy because I was like, man, you didn't even have to die, dude. You literally styled on the guy for like 2-3 minutes straight already. You had clearly won. You proved that you were better, and then you
Because
let
of his
this happen.
hubris.
Yep,
You let this happen
all the way.
The
That's
work
why
that oh god.
Daenerys might rule.
You think so?
Well, I don't know. Jon Snow's pretty good. But wait, okay.
So this is the
Okay, let's
Pause.
go back.
Pause, real quick.
Okay.
This is what I wanted to say. Okay, so Daenerys and Jon Snow, if they were to get married, he would be king, technically. But she would have the majority of the power because of the fact that she has the right to rule. But if they were to get married, they would rule together.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
they could still get married, even though they're related, and they could still rule together. I don't know why
You
it
just got to
has.
keep it hush hush that they're related.
Yeah, but like, why is it an issue for her that she has to be the rightful heir up
Yeah,
to the
Power
throne?
hungry.
Yes, and that's she just wants to not be
Yeah.
under control of another man. But Jon Snow's not any typical man.
Right.
All right. That's
So
it.
no,
Tag back in.
that ties in perfectly to what I was going to say. Is there's just this weird, great irony to the fact, Iron Throne, that
I
Jon
caught that.
Snow doesn't want to be king. Like he really doesn't want to be king, but because of that reason, that makes him the
More
best,
eligible, yeah.
the best king. The fact
Yeah.
that he doesn't want to do it.
Because he understands the gravity of that kind of ruling.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's just that Weird irony to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think
right.
Sansa would be a great hand to the king.
Yeah.
She is just so
And
resourceful.
she's grown so much over the series.
She learned a lot from Littlefinger, for sure.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Speaking of Littlefinger.
He got a Russian necktie.
Carol
for
and I
sure.
watched Shanghai Nights.
Yeah.
And
Really?
Littlefinger
Yeah,
is
he's in
Lord Lord, what's his name?
I don't know, but he's a lord in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He's just as schemy and just as snake-like as he is in
the way
Game of
he
Thrones.
talks is exactly
Oh my God.
Rathbone, that's his name, Rathbone, yeah.
Oh
but
my
he looks
God.
exactly the same, just a
He-
little bit he's just a little bit more gray now.
He swears in that movie, and he's like, "What are you gonna kick butt?" And he's just like,
The way he says it.
it just sounds like a valley
gonna
girl.
kick butt?
You're gonna. He says that.
Gonna
He
kick
said
my
it in
ass.
an English accent.
Yeah. Like, what, you're gonna kick my butt? And I'm like, no, you did not just say it like that. You did not just do that. What is happening? I had to rewind it and rewatch it. I'm just like, oh my God, if he could just have an American Valley Girl accent all the time in Game of Thrones, I think he would have lived a little bit longer.
So who do you guys predict that's going to die next?
That's gonna die. It's hard to do a prediction on who's gonna die next because Game of Thrones is good for that. You know,
Grey
it's-
Worm probably will be because that'll be the most heart-wrenching
A lot of
turn of
foreshadowing
events,
that too.
because he promises his girlfriend that when they get out of here, like, do you want to die in this country? And she's like, no. And then he's like, well, we can go back to wherever you want to go. And she's like, well, North would be great, but
Oh,
we're
yeah.
peaceful people.
Yeah.
There's no wars to fight. And then he's like, well, my people are aggressive. We are fighters. We will protect you. And that was just like the sweetest exchange.
I heard
And like
that.
a future that looks like it could be the promise of springtime, or
Yeah.
and it might not come into fruition the way that we want it to. Maybe the people, he's a general, so he's the leader of his people, so maybe they'll honor him through that way and help protect Narth with his then girlfriend, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah, I was thinking like when he said that to her, I felt a little emotional because it was you could feel the emotion when he said it, you know, and he was like really promising her, you know, once this is over, this is what's gonna happen. This is what I want for both of us.
After all my queen's enemies are gone.
Yeah, exactly. And he always put her needs first. He honored Daenerys, but you know, at the same token, I feel like. I don't know. It's going to be ironic.
I'll be very upset. That's what will make me rage quit Game of Thrones for sure.
Yeah.
Is
Rage
if
quit.
I won't watch the rest of the episodes. I'm like, no, good. I'm Gucci. Nothing else is relevant.
So if Grey
I
Worm
love
dies,
it.
you're done.
Yeah.
But the
Wow.
irony of it all, like I was getting ready to say, he might live. He is an excellent warrior.
Oh, and there
Yeah.
also might be a cure for White Walkers, Dragonglass.
Really?
Oh.
What transformed could destroy whatever that transformation was, so they could be cured. That's what I heard. That's one of the fan theories, is that
Interesting.
Dragonglass can cure them.
I mean, because you know he what was it? The guy he did find the cure for that scale disease thing.
Oh yeah, Grace.
Oh,
Samwell.
yeah.
He's found that. Yeah,
It's
he
like, how
found
did you
that,
do
so-
it? Read the books and followed the directions.
Yeah,
Wow,
so
Good
he
for
never
might,
so
Sam
simple.
Tarley, ladies
yeah, and then he
gentlemen.
could probably read the book and then figure out how to change the Night King.
Yeah.
Like, hey, yo, Night King, we can,
Yeah.
make you human again. Do you
maybe
want
maybe
that?
be one of those
I was
books
gonna
that
say
stole
that.
from the
Want it.
Citadel.
I was going to say
No.
that because my next question was like, how are you guys going to logically defeat the Night King? Because after what he did to the dragon, I was just like, you can't fight him in any type of close combat whatsoever.
Also, the
he's
wings-
clearly Herculean strong.
Yeah, but the wings
Yeah.
are eroding away, so the dragon might not be able to fly anymore because he's decomposing. He hasn't stopped the decomposition process, so that's probably why we don't see the dragon.
Yeah.
Is because, yeah,
Okay, because I'm
I
like,
He
didn't
can't
know
fly no
that.
more.
He would have.
I didn't know
because
that.
you saw the holes in his wings,
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay, I did see the holes, but I didn't think he was
so
complete.
he might not be aerodynamic
Wow.
anymore.
Well, so this
but he
goes
can still
into
crawl, like a
Yeah.
lizard.
so this goes into another
Like a
dra-
lizard.
I just got to throw this in here. This goes into dragon theory.
Okay.
This goes into a book I read about dragons when I was like a kid.
Ooh.
The
And-
mating flight.
So wait, what?
Oh, sorry.
All
no,
I heard was
what?
flight.
mating flight.
Oh no.
He's on a roll now.
They might
Mating
lay
flight?
eggs.
He's on
The
a roll.
Daenerys' dragons might lay eggs,
So
which
it's
is
not,
great.
So he might
Ooh.
still be able to fly because I don't know how the dragons in this universe work, but some dragons, they don't use their wings to fly. It's the fact that their bellies are like filled with helium and are lighter than air.
Oh, that's
And
why
the
their
wings are
stomachs
more so.
big?
Yeah, and the wings are more so for like direction and.
Well, at this point, we're dealing with magic, so I wouldn't be surprised if any of this was just null and void. He's just gonna be an unaerodynamic flying dragon. No one's really gonna care because he's gonna breathe blue fire.
Yeah.
It's that
he's gonna do some damage.
Yeah, hydrogen. Yeah.
Hydrogen.
Like the Hindenburg.
Yep.
Oh, see, now we're getting sciencey over here right now.
Yeah, but sorry,
the humanity.
I was
Right.
burping.
Oh, okay.
I was burping.
Okay.
Because I'm really curious because I was curious as to how they were going to do things, and I was like, you guys going to have to clearly correct your
So
the
the
tactics.
hydrogen stacks
Mhm.
are also gonna have decomposition.
Oh.
So those will also rupture and burst and no longer work if they exist
Yeah.
in this universe, which I doubt.
Yeah.
So no.
Yeah. My thing is, I'm like, I don't think he needs the dragon whatsoever. He clearly can take them by himself. The dude threw a spear several, clearly several hundred meters into the
He had
air.
time to work out.
Yeah.
He had all the time in the world.
And not
to
only
work
that,
out.
but they let him do it. It's like literally they were fighting this whole time. I was like, you gonna let the Night King just take aim? He took aim for like a good 3-4 minutes before he let it go.
I was yelling at Jon Snow, like, why are you holding up the ride? Why are you
Get
holding
on
up
the
the rescue?
dragon.
Just get on the
Get
dragon.
to that chopper.
Right.
Like nothing's happening.
Daenerys,
Everybody's getting on there,
You couldn't have
and
told
she's
one of the
she's
dragons to
looking
kind of go
around.
over there and just shoot him with
She's
some
just
fire.
like ignoring the Night King, just like, da-da-da, oh,
Right.
you can see my boyfriend. Hopefully, you let me smash next episode.
Right, I'm like, dude, you got three dragons. Why don't you just tell one of them to go over there, blow some fire on him before he throws this giant spear into you? Like,
And then he sees it, and he's like, go, and she's like, what you talking about, boo? I can't leave you. Why are you gonna? Now you're too far away.
oh, not my dragon.
And then she's like, no. And I'm like, you deserve every piece of that. Yeah. So,
Plot armor.
yeah.
also, Arya can't die along with
the
the
other guy,
Baratheon kid.
yeah, that other guy.
Gendry?
Yeah.
Remember the guy with the eye patch can't die either.
Yeah.
Oh, he can. Now
Lord
he
of
can.
Light.
Oh, now he can.
Because there's no one there. There's no witch to resurrect him.
Okay.
Oh, Hound
No
brought
priest.
it up.
Yeah, it's like, oh, how would
Yeah.
you like to die from me chucking you over this wall? And the Hound has some of the best lines.
Yeah,
in the
Maybe
Yes,
that's
he
the reason
does.
why you die. It's like it's what you're meant to die for now.
Exactly. I'm like, dude. First of all, I want to talk about why the Hound dude. Like, why are you so angry all the time? You walk around with an angry look on your face.
He has an acorn in his butt,
Face.
Clearly, dude. I was just like, dude. I'm like, you
and
still
it's
mad?
taking root.
I mean,
and it's
his older
growing.
brother's the mountain.
And burned his face. But think about it at this point. Though, I'm like, you're pretty much unmesswittable by most men. Like several men can jump you and you're still gonna win.
Yeah.
So how do you feel at this point? You know that you're the ish. So it's like,
Well, he's gotten
shouldn't that give you some
the
type of
Hound has
comfort?
gotten a lot softer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks
He
to Arya.
asked
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he asked Arya like, what became like you're such a cold bee, like.
Yeah, now he has a smart ass little
well,
girl
no,
with him.
yeah. Well, she's not talkative anymore. She didn't give him a warm welcome like he was expecting because he does have affection for her.
Yeah.
But she's grown, she's changed, and so he made it a point to say like, you're a lot colder than I am, basically.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I caught that too. But also remember his confrontation with Brienne Tarth.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That was his beginning of kind of like, okay.
His moral compass was starting to
Yeah.
change. But that when he was bringing that White Walker to Westeros and
Oh, yeah.
Brienne made sure to talk to him, she's like, yeah, Aya's actually doing really great. She made it home to Winterfell. And he's like, good. And he was very happy and proud.
Yeah,
and
he was.
they shared a moment of how great she is.
Mhm.
And he loves the Starks. He loves both the Stark girls. And he
Yeah.
likes to hear that they're doing well. And that Westeros didn't destroy them or
Yeah,
their honor or
corrupt
their
them.
house.
No,
Yeah.
Sansa's my girl. That's what I said. Like Jon Snow's team of leadership I feel like is stronger than hers, than Daenerys's for sure.
Yeah.
Way stronger than hers, man. You like I said, you got Sansa and you got, you know what I'm saying, Arya, and you got, like I said, the undead man himself, Jon
but-
Snow. So it's like that's
They don't have to be at odds. Like they could easily work together if Daenerys humbled herself a little bit.
Yeah.
If she
Yeah.
needs a humbling moment. And I think if one of her people were to die, that would be a humbling moment. That would be a game changer for
But
her.
I hope it ain't Tyrion, because that's your tactician.
Oh wow.
For real. It's like without Tyrion, it's like you don't make good battle maneuvers like
And
that.
Tyrion's going to be in the
whatsoever.
crypts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at
that
this point,
they might
place.
be ashes, okay?
That's the
They
worst
might
place
be
to be at.
ashes.
for him, I was like the one guy who really can't defend himself for real. Like from like oncoming threats is like going to
He
be
can still
in.
fight. He was a lot more braver
somewhat-
and a lot more able to defend himself than Joffrey was.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's because Joffrey was nothing.
Just to smack Joffrey.
What was his
Smacked him a
what is
couple
his sword
times.
Quite a few times. Oh, yeah.
Widow's
Widow's
Wail.
Wail. Oh
Widow's
my
Wail.
Gosh.
He ain't killed nothing with that sword.
Nothing. Man, he was just...
In closing, though, I do have a spoiler. A quick spoiler.
When I chopped off...
Did you guys
Stark's
read
head.
about when Sophie Turner, when she got her tattoo, what the tattoo said?
No.
Mm-hmm.
The pack survives.
Yep, I knew that all
Oh,
the Starks were to survive. I knew that.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm. I mean, they can't die. They've been through
Did you hear
everything.
about that? Yeah.
So that means the only Starks that
And,
died would be
Technically, Daenerys holding a wolf cub of her own would survive as well.
Ah.
Oh, but
Something to think about.
there has
Okay.
to be a part 2 because we need to talk about how cold Jon Snow was in the beginning of the episode. Till the last second, he tells her, and then the White Walkers are coming.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was... I said, wait a minute. What?
waits to the very end, right before battle. Hey, by the way, we're
You better
related.
tell her.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, by the way,
Yeah, and she even had a surprise. So like,
you're my aunt.
You're
I'm sorry.
lying. Your best friend and your family would, of course, say. It's like, yeah, that I'm having relations with my auntie. Yeah, that's definitely a story they want to tell me at this moment.
Yeah, that's. I'm
It's like, yeah, the statue I'm in front of, that's your sister-in-law. By the way, that's my mom.
Ooh, way to break it in at the family reunion. Like,
Family reunion.
everybody's like, ooh, could you pass the potato salad? Just pass the potato salad, baby. We're not trying to
They
talk
are
about
the
this.
only family, though. They are the last of the Targaryens,
Yeah.
which I thought she'd find comfort with, especially feeling so alone and isolated.
Especially considering who
And
the
he bent
last
the
of the
knee to her.
Targaryens were. It's like
Yeah, he did.
the other Targaryens that were alive before this were really terrible people. You know what I'm saying?
She's thinking it-
His brother, her brother, horrible.
Well, she's thinking that, that's basically what's going to happen now, that he has a claim to the throne. He might change his personality. So she's arming herself. I don't really think that she believes that Jon Snow will take over and try to
Yeah.
put his hat in the ring for the throne, but she is worried that might happen. Power corrupts people, so she's protecting herself. Hopefully, she'll change up. I saw the trailer. She's looked a little bit too callous. Like,
Yeah.
you need to calm down
yeah,
your face.
she did.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's like
she
she's
did.
starting to get colder and harder and more like, I need to strong arm people. in
Yeah,
order to-
because
She's turning into her dad a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it's a defense
think-
mechanism for
I think
sure.
Jamie saw
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
too about her. Because remember the conversation he had with Tyrion? He said about the Mad King and she's not becoming like him or is anything like him. So I think it's going to be a twist in the plot the next few episodes.
Like, what if she tells Tyrion and then Viserys finds out and then tries to off Daenerys in the first second that he gets?
Wow.
Maybe. We will see.
We will see indeed.
Oh, yes, we most certainly will. And in closing, we're going to have Carol have last words.
Ooh.
I'm just excited for the next couple episodes. And if Grey Worm dies, I will be very upset.
What about you,
And,
Jess?
Yeah.
Cool. Man, I'm just such a great show. I didn't get into it till I think maybe already
I had
three
to
few
make him
seasons
watch
were
it.
in.
We had to binge watch the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
I
So I
almost
was
lost
late
my
getting
mind.
on board.
So many hours.
I binged it up until like season 3 and that or season 4. Then we had to catch up just recently for the new episodes, and it's just been such a great ride. It's Game of Thrones kind of filled that gap that
Yeah.
was left when we didn't have any more Lord of the Rings films to
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry,
that
The
was
Hobbit
inspiration
doesn't
for the
count.
books.
Yeah, The Hobbit doesn't count. Those movies were okay, but they weren't
They were
Hobbit doesn't
okay.
count.
they weren't the
They were-
trilogy.
Right. They weren't the trilogy. They were cool though.
But yeah, it filled that that gap of fantasy.
That gape.
Gaping gap of fantasy.
They're coming back, though. I heard that they're doing some more series. I think it's on AMC. It's going to be through AMC, I think.
We'll definitely be looking forward to that. And Phil, what are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts.
Oh man, my final thoughts. For one, I love the murder death. I want some more murder death scenes, man. I need to see them. I need to see them.
Cersei, Aya's coming for you.
No, yes, man. I'm waiting. Somebody's gonna get their face snatched. You know what I'm saying? Someone's gonna meet horrible ends, because it's no good for just like throat slitting and the stabbing the heart. It's like, people gonna have to die in horrible ways now, because a lot of the people who are left are the ones who have done the most dirt.
Yeah.
So it's like now
Cersei just didn't kill people. She tortured them.
Yes. What way is justice going to be served?
Carol?
Oh my God. Okay, so I just had a thought. Okay, so how horror stories, like they have this rule, virgins never die.
Mm-hmm.
Aya just lost her virginity.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
And the Hound is the little brother. So he might kill Cersei in honor of Aya's list.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, because he did inquire about that list.
Yeah. Is he still on your list?
Yeah, so...
Oh, that's a thought.
That might happen. She might die, and the Hound's going to be so heartbroken, and then he will do his best. Like
he's gonna kill the mountain, and then
to
Cersei.
her. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thoughts.
All right.
The mountain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I love my
final
mind.
thought is I hope the mountain and the Hound face off.
Yeah.
I want to see that battle.
Click
I've
and
been
ball.
waiting for that.
Battle of the Brothers.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to Game of Thrones Part 1. Stay tuned for Game of Thrones Part 2. This is Cool Nerds Unite podcast. I'm Roderick, and we're talking about Game of Thrones.
Yeah, with your boy feeling the beat.
Got Justin over here.
And I'm Amber Marie.
Oh man, we got some very differing opinions on characters, plot lines, stories for Game of Thrones.
Yes,
And I'm
bring
about
it.
to go ham because apparently I'm the only one here who's willing to defend Daenerys. I'm probably going to get a whole lot of boos for this in the audience, but that's okay. I'm alone on the stage right now. I will defend Daenerys. Let's go. Let's do this thing.
Okay. So let's talk about why people are jumping off the Daenerys train.
You want to start with that? Or you
Or
want
the
to start with
Daenerys
the
Yeah, we
Dragon.
can do that.
or the Battle of Winterfell first? Like, how do we want?
Well, yeah, so we're going to be talking about episodes 3 and 4. So it's the Battle of Winterfell and then all of the wrap up of Battle of Winterfell and getting all pumped up for the battle at King's Landing.
Okay,
Yes,
let's
bring
do
it.
this.
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, overall thoughts of episode 3. Ready, set, go.
I thought it was good. I thought it was like what I've been waiting for a very long time. I thought it was very needed. Some of the characters that were killed were kind of the characters that I least expected. I thought it was going to be main characters. Mm-hmm. So initially, it was a shock to me.
And that was a disappointment for me. The character that did die was kind of a disappointment.
It was a
it's-
disappointment.
It's like
How
they
so?
wrapped up the Theon arc.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Where was
No, I was just saying, like, the characters that did die was disappointing. To me,
Yeah.
it was a lack of death. A lack of death. You're
Yeah, for
talking about
sure.
the
Yeah.
biggest battle that has been gassed
Yeah.
up for almost 8 to 10 years.
Okay.
Yes.
And who died? I mean, we had
got
Ed who died.
Theon Greyjoy.
Theon died.
Theon Greyjoy.
Lyanna
was
Mormont,
expected.
which was sad, but she died.
Oh my god.
She went
I
out
didn't-
valiantly.
I didn't
by
expect
the
them to
way.
show her
Yeah,
death.
Lady Mormont died.
That was
So we had some notable
the
characters
whole
that
Mormont family died.
we had notable
and
characters
Jorah
that
the Explorer.
Jorah the Explorer. We did have notable characters that did die, but given the grand scale of the
I thought
situation,
there'd be more.
there should have been
Yeah.
more.
And I thought the
Like one of
deaths
the
certain
Starks
characters
or-
should
One
have
of the
been worse.
Starks.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so the priestess, the priestess witch who basically set the whole field on fire.
And lit up the screen, thank God.
Yes, and she killed
Yeah.
children. She didn't burn children, old women, men,
Mercilessly.
everything at the stake. And her death is she literally walks off into the sunset
just
and
walked off and
collapses
died.
collapses. I was
That's
like,
it.
that is so anticlimactic for a person
Yeah.
who's done the things that she's done.
The whole
It's like,
episode was
I
actually-
felt like that was dirty, but yet Lady Mormont has to get crushed to death.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? She gets
Oh,
crushed.
they showed it. They crushed a child. They
wow.
showed it.
They literally
Right?
crushed her to death, dude. So
But
I'm like,
she's still
wow.
so it's like he crushed her, but she was still able to stab this giant in the eye.
Strong enough, like with
Yeah.
enough force to be able to like
The
kill
bones
her.
in her arm were still good, I guess.
Dang.
Too soon?
I guess when you got that much adrenaline left and you saying
Yeah.
I'm gonna die anyway, screw it.
She
Like,
took out
Yeah,
a
I'm gonna
giant.
go out valiantly.
screw it. I'm just going. Yeah, I'm gonna go out valiantly. I also, my thing, I didn't like how certain characters just got away with murder. They got away to live, like
Like Sam.
Brienne of
Sam should have died.
Sam, Brienne of
Brienne,
Tarth,
yep.
Brienne of Tarth. Jamie, freaking Tyrion and Sansa. Oh my God.
They were in the crypts and they didn't die.
Right,
holding hands behind. It's literally like, oh, we're having a shootout in the office. We're literally just going to hide behind the desk.
And we're okay.
And everyone else is going to get shot but us. It's like, that is crazy.
All the notable characters in the crypt still live.
I'm talking about
Right.
we're going to survive the longest while having the most relatively open spot. It's like we weren't even really hiding that bad. Like we were really just behind the brick. Really, for real.
Yeah, it's
like the coffin. At least the other guys and the children were inside the wall. You know, when they were in the wall, they were ducked off. I'm like, okay, you guys were literally just behind that thing. People were dying right there on the side of you, and they just never came around, huh?
Also, there's a little bit of inconsistency with the White Walkers, because why is it when the Dothraki charge them, all of a sudden they're like these the fast zombies running at them, but when they're in the library, finally
now they're walking like drones.
Right, they're different zombies. You know what I'm saying? They didn't get the
different
they were the slow ones. They were the slow ones.
Speaking of Dothraki, that was a poor military move.
Right.
Like one of the poorest of military moves. Like I'm no military expert, but even I know.
Yeah.
Your girl Daenerys with that one.
Did she really call for that?
I mean, she let him go. It's your art. She in control of them. You let them die.
But still, we don't know who actually came up with the plan to actually do it.
But that's the dumbest plan
The
ever.
whole thing was stupid.
So there's two sides to this. Like one side is clearly either the writers had no study of siege warfare and how it works, because this is a siege.
Yes.
Might not be on all ends, but yeah, it's a siege.
And you're outnumbered, so why would you rush into a crowd of people? Then you're severely outnumbered.
The plan should have been to light the field of fire first.
So you can actually see what's going on.
And you're rushing out into the
have
dark.
a defense. And
But
make the ring larger so that you can have your forces behind the ring.
Yeah.
And that way, when they tried to start piling over, to build,
you had room to shoot and
you
kill.
could just kill
And why,
them and poke
why
the
are the
ones trying to
trebuchets
run.
beyond the wall? Like who? Like let's put these trebuchets totally exposed beyond the wall. That
Because it looks cool. That's why.
Yeah.
There was no research done with this at all. It's like, I'm no expert at siege tactics, but this just looked like all kinds of
Didn't
stupid.
make any sense.
It looked like all kinds of stupid. You lost all of your Dothraki.
well, only half.
Yes.
We find out. in
Only
episode
half?
4,
Yes, only half.
which doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't
They just
make
said
any-
that.
If y'all could see Amber's face right now,
Right, it
Only
doesn't
half.
make
What?
only half. It didn't make sense at all. They ran off into.
Can
the
I use 2
darkness.
letters from the alphabet right now, please?
Sure. Go
BS.
Yeah.
That's total BS. And you know it. You know it.
Perfect.
No.
Perfect.
No.
Yes.
Those Dothraki were dead, and then ghosts somehow miraculously survived. I'm just saying.
Amen.
I'm just saying. Poorly executed. It was cool. It looked cool.
All I'm saying is the Hound was so pessimistic.
oh my god,
And the whole thing.
I love the Hound.
And the guy who manages to get him riled up with the eye patch, he has to die.
yeah,
Mercilessly getting stabbed in the hallway to let them live, and he didn't even want to live. You were just going to let them just win, basically. Like, we're going to lose anyway. What's the point?
But what about her? Oh, that's my stepchild.
yeah.
Right.
But was it because of
Can let
fact
the little lady
the
go.
fear of fire, though?
Yeah.
Was it a lot of fire?
They did bring
he
that
has
back.
a strong fear of fire.
They did bring
Man,
that
if
back.
you don't get over that, man.
Yeah, he needs to get over
You
that
are
by the
so
end of the
adult
show.
now. You're a grown.
Yeah, he needs to overcome that. That would be like his greatest. That would be a nice bit of character development if he actually gets over his fear of fire.
But you know what? I
Yes.
have a feeling that's what's going to destroy him.
Yeah, he's gonna get over that fear.
And then he's going to end up fighting Mountain. Mm-hmm. That's part of one of his fears. And then be destroyed by
Clegane
the
Bowl.
fire.
Yeah.
Okay, so real quick, how do you guys feel about how the Night King died?
Horrible.
Eh.
It was terrible.
It was kind of cool.
I was on board with it.
I was
I'm
not
sorry.
on board with it. He didn't even.
I'm sorry.
What?
But
what,
then again,
remember,
I'm not.
Okay, so tell me this: for this to have been the arch enemy of this entire season,
The
basically
big baddie.
the big
Yeah.
baddie of the entire
he was
entire
supposed to
show.
be the last.
What did he
boss.
do that was memorable in that last episode?
He did a dramatic, slow R&B, dropping the greatest mixtape of all time walk as he's strolling up to
outside of walk and take Dragonfire to the face and continue to walk. It's
Yeah.
like
and raise the dead. Which
what did he do?
But you know what? That's
Look
a
like a
sign
boss
to
while
me
doing
that
it.
he is of Targaryen lineage, though. I really, truly believe.
but we'll never know that, will we?
we will know in the prequel.
But that the prequel ain't here yet.
The
I'm
prequel's
going by
not-
what's here
First
now.
of all, exactly. It's like you didn't sew any loose ends up, though. So you
Yeah.
just
No
let him die like
explanations.
that.
Yeah.
And the way it happened, I'd be like, don't get me wrong, I love that Arya did it. I love that it was Arya that did it.
Mm-hmm.
But the way it happened was just WTF.
One of the
I'm using
things
more
that gets
alphabet
me
letters. I'm
is-
sorry. But
Yeah, it doesn't
what
even make
was
sense.
that?
The
I mean,
D&D writers think they're clever because in that whole, behind the scenes episode, they're talking about, oh yeah, you're not expecting Arya to kill him. Like, of course we were.
you said blue eyes.
Yeah.
As soon
Yeah, it
as
was
she leaves
part of the
that,
prophecy.
Yeah.
as soon as she leaves, like, oh, what do we say to the god of death? And she like goes out the window. It's like, oh yeah, she's going to get to Bran and kill the Night King. Like, you
And
can
he
totally
just-
see that.
And he
Yeah.
just
But
died.
she told her
But-
what she named the color of eyes.
Yeah.
She went into, and the blue eyes were the last.
So-
and she kind of gave her this look like,
I have a
You're gonna
question.
My
kill
whole
him.
thing was,
you're going to
I have a
kill the
question
Night King.
because it just made me think of this. She said green eyes, brown eyes, and blue eyes. Cersei has blue eyes.
She's going to kill Cersei.
So
that's what that
is
means.
that part of the prophecy too? Is the prophecy over?
I think no. I think it still exists. I think she's going to be the one to kill Cersei. I've been said that she's going to be the one to kill Cersei.
I
though.
still holding on to the theory that she wears Jaime's face. I still think that's
but
possible.
initially, that's
I don't know
still going to
because
be
Jamie's
her.
going back right now to be with him, and I don't even know if he's going to make it back.
Yeah.
Well, they're all.
To be perfectly
I get the feeling
honest.
because Sandor Clegane and Arya are all going to King's Landing too, because we have to have Clegane
Yeah.
Bowl. There are so many intertwining paths, so it really can go either way. It seriously could. So it's like we really just don't know, but we know one of them between Arya and Jaime. It's going to be either one of them.
I go with the theory that if Jaime dies, that Arya is going to take on his identity.
I feel like she'll
and
do that.
still, it's going to be Arya. It's going to be the one that commits the murder. Or
So they
kill.
both technically killed her. Technically, not
Yeah.
really. But yeah, the whole Night King thing is like once I calmed down from the hype of episode 3, I realized like I don't want to say wasted, but you built this up for so long. He should have been the final boss battle, like Justin
and it should have
said.
been way more epic than that.
And
It's
way
like,
more
he
epic.
didn't do anything memorable in this last fight.
He came over the wall and we killed him.
Yeah.
That's
So
what happened.
what- it kind of reminded me of
memorable.
so
liked it.
the Battle of the
good.
Bastards. That was like your typical battle of kind of like Helm's Deep, maybe on the inverse of it, because you know
Okay.
you got
Yeah.
the Vale coming in like Gandalf,
like
lighting the first
Last
stage.
minute rescue type
I know.
thing.
But the Battle of
point.
Winterfell reminded me of the Battle of Naboo
Oh,
from
yeah, it
episode
did.
1, because
Yeah.
instead of Anakin flying into the battle station, blowing it up, all the robots fall
Yeah.
apart, don't work. That's just what Arya did with the Night King. Stabs the Night King, all the zombie White Walkers.
It felt like we were really just trying to wrap things up. It really
Right.
felt like we're just trying to
So
wrap
rushed.
things
it
up.
felt rushed.
Yeah.
It felt like they were rushing the part
6
of the story. I was
episodes.
like, wow, this is what we're going to do with the
Machina.
main
And now the
anta-
real
with the
battle
main
is happening.
subsequent antagonist of the series. Like 8 years, 8 years of buildup for him to
I feel
basically
like-
do nothing, no battle combat, no combat. He didn't swing a sword almost once. The only person he killed, Theon,
And
with
Theon
his
did it to himself.
with his in the inconsistencies of how things happen. I was like, okay, so the Night King's fast enough to not only disarm, break his weapon, and stab him with his own spear
But he's gonna take that slow walk.
within a millisecond. But he's not fast enough to stop Arya from re-stabbing him after he done double-handed choked her out in the air. It's like
Because plot,
the
Phil.
dude's strong
Plot.
enough to strong enough to chuck a spear 50 meters in the air, but he can't just pop her head off her shoulders. Like there you
Because
go.
we have to wrap the show up and we only have
Another
6
thing,
episodes. We gotta do
Arya,
this.
how
Yeah.
fast she is. Okay, Arya can barely outrun the zombies in the hallway, but she can get to where the Night King is while he's surrounded by all of his generals.
Good point.
And she can get not only around all of them, but get to the king himself before any of them are able to react.
Phil, you're not supposed to ask these kind of questions.
What?
But he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
I'm like, okay, so I'm like, at times she has powers, at times she doesn't have powers. It's like,
She has powers when the plot needs her to have the powers.
definitely the armor is so thick on this chick.
There
man.
was so
It's
much,
like-
not even her. It was just plot armor going around for
yeah,
everybody.
All of Brianna Tarf. Oh yeah, so Brianna Tarf out there, and Jamie basically fighting damn near by themselves against
Getting
for like
ambushed
an
several
hour,
times.
for like an hour against undead zombies who don't get tired. You do, so it's
Yeah.
like how.
No
How do
one
you
of great
live?
importance really died.
No
when you think about it.
one. You killed off the B squad. You didn't kill off any of
That was
the,
straight up B
the-
squad.
The A-listers. You didn't kill off any A-listers. Sansa lived.
No
Tyrion
Starks.
lived. Yes,
All the
none
Starks
of the
lived.
None of the Starks died at all. Freaking Daenerys lives. You know what I'm saying?
And she
The
didn't not one
both-
drop of blood on her white
both
coat.
of her dragons live. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, there was one Stark that passed away this week,
know?
but that's
What Stark passed
What?
away?
What's Stark?
Oh, yeah, that's Stark. We'll get to that in a second, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
Stark.
right.
Spoilers. No.
But seriously, yeah, I agree 100%. And I think this bothered me more than it should. But it's like, how do you wear a white winter gown and not get one drop of gore or blood or whatever on it?
Right.
How does that work? How does that happen?
How does a chick who's never wielded a weapon before in her life really just all of a sudden get, just because she sees somebody she loves is down, so now
Hold
she's
on now. Hold on.
You know,
Wow.
so
Hold on now.
now
Hold on.
she's like sword master and killing White Walkers and
Hold
all
on,
type of
Phil.
stuff, man. It's like,
So
whoa.
the Daenerys bashing begins.
Okay, here we go. Hold on. I got to defend that one. I got to defend that one. Hold
Where's
on.
Go ahead.
Club? Where's
First
Go
of
ahead,
all,
Amber.
she knows she don't know how to use that sword. You saw how she was holding that thing? Do you see how she was holding that thing? She knows she don't know how to wield this sword, but she's gonna stand beside her, friend's own friend and fight alongside him. Like, I don't know how to use this thing, but I'm gonna for sure try
Apparently
to.
those White Walkers didn't want to win because they can kill hardened soldiers, but we can't kill Daenerys, who doesn't have any
Okay,
fighting
we need to
skill
go ahead
with-
and get into this debate right now because I'm about to go
without
in on
any-
Phil.
Okay.
And this is a great way to move into episode 4.
Yes.
Yes.
Here we
yeah.
go, because I'm about to defend Daenerys against 2 people, 3 people. I don't know, Roger. Where do you stand in this? I don't know.
I love
Man,
Daenerys.
I like Daenerys when she was in
I love
season
her.
7.
She's very beautiful. Very
I think Amelia
Okay.
Clark.
Hot,
Amelia
she's
Clark is
hot,
fun.
literally.
She's a nice person.
Flaming.
Really.
Dracarys.
Okay, so we're just going to start this off right off the back. Where do we think Daenerys is going right now? What's happening?
It's
What
not
is going
looking
on?
good.
It's
Okay.
going to a bad place, it looks like. It's looking like right now she's either one, in my fan theory, I think she's going towards a trap that Cersei's going to set her up for. Cersei's emotionally setting her up to fall into a trap.
And that's,
And she's not listening to her supervision, basically. She's not listening to any of her advisors, anybody that has tactical knowledge. She made the worst rookie mistakes ever in the episode. She basically rode her dragons directly into the line of fire.
After
Got
Sansa
one
told
of
her
them
not
killed
to.
easily. Continue to try to ride forward, which is another inconsistency. So I'm like, so you guys had enough accuracy to hit the dragons when they were further back and hit them 5 times, like 4 or 5 times.
But you can't hit
when
the biggest one.
Right, but when she
Yeah.
drives forward on the biggest one directly at you, you all miss. Doesn't make
because
sense.
it's not time for Drogon to die yet.
Yeah.
Because she's not
Right.
full Mad Queen yet.
Yeah.
But
also,
but,
just to take a step back with that whole sea battle scene, if you have a bunch of dragons
Yeah.
flying over, a fleet of ships,
Yes.
how did those dragons not see the Iron Navy coming in?
inconsistency.
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense to
Inconsistency.
me.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
They would have saw
point.
the ships way
And they
before.
would have like,
Valid
yeah,
point,
we should
valid
probably
point.
turn around,
Yeah.
or
They
something.
kind of shooting. They look like they're arming stuff. Like they're moving.
They
got
should have
giant
already saw
giant
those
ballistas
ships.
on their on the ships, like in the front of the ships. Like we're
Yeah,
gonna
they
shoot you.
upgraded the
Yeah.
Scorpions.
Okay,
Yeah.
just to preach
Yeah.
on Daenerys' behalf. Okay,
sister,
look,
preach.
I'm just saying. I do agree with a lot of what you said, but I understand what's happening. She's scared right now. She is desperate. She is
I
grabbing straws. Once Jon told her that he's basically the rightful heir, she's losing everybody. She's losing all of her allies, all of her support. She has no support in Westeros from anyone, and she's losing her support system. And she's in love with Jon, but now Jon is becoming a contender for the throne. So it's kind of a conflict of interest. Like, it becomes, she knows she can't have both anymore. And the only way she can have both is if Jon just basically said, like, look, I'm stepping down. I don't want the throne anymore, blah, blah, blah. But all this paranoia that she's building up, it's causing her to make these irrational and reckless
Yes.
decisions.
And keep
Yeah.
in mind, and make these reckless decisions, especially when she's become bred to be a person where it's like, okay, so the end all be all with me is bend the knee or die, or you know what I'm saying? It's
But
like,
see,
See how that ruined her dad.
Right.
Bend the knee.
That's become the person she is.
But-
It's like, and you could even tell when she goes to Jon crying in tears, talking about like, oh my God, you shouldn't tell him. I'm begging
But
you.
it came from a
And
pla-
then the moment he stands up and
She,
says,
like,
I am
flips the switch.
I am convicted in doing this, and
Yeah.
she's like, oh,
Oh,
stone
well then.
face, stone face.
I
It
will
happened.
agree with
Tears
that, but
dry.
there are multiple reasons why she's doing that because she knows. I mean, yes, it's selfish of her to ask him to not tell his family, but she knows the second he does, it doesn't matter what Jon wants. They are going to kill her. She is going to be. That's going to be the death of her. The second he
Yeah.
tells, that's going to be the end of her.
Yeah.
And also
end of
she-
her
And the end
rule.
of them. Like, they are
It
done.
would be the end of her rule, and things are going to change drastically.
And the end of her relationship with him,
Yeah.
and she wants
It's-
him, but it's going to be
it-
the end of their relationship, and
Yeah.
she knows
Yeah.
that. But Jon is so naive and such a sweet dude. He's like, no, that's not going to happen. But she knows. Sansa is not just your sister. She's someone else. Like, she knows.
Sansa's hate. She
She is jealous of
dislikes
her, but she's also she's
Daenerys.
pretty rational. But
Yeah.
with a passion.
Even though but Sansa and Daenerys went through a lot of the same stuff. They are very similar characters.
they are.
They both pretty much their transition from going to be kids of, lords, future possible kings.
Yeah.
They went through the same kind of horrible, terrible things, but they have totally different approaches to how to kind of end this Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. I will say this about Daenerys. Daenerys is kind of a hypocrite, I will say, because her breaking the wheel speech did kind of, okay, you're trying to break this wheel of the rich over the poor, dominating over the poor, but when it comes to you, it's different.
Yeah.
That did bother me. So she does come off as a brat. She is a self-entitled brat. I will say that. But when I understand where she's coming from, she doesn't have a family. Her whole goal is basically to get back what she thinks is her. She's trying to have family. She's trying to reclaim something that she thinks is her. She has nothing. And in her mindset, she's built up over the years, you know, trying to get to this point. And then someone else comes along and he doesn't even want the throne, but he gets it because he's a man. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't even want the job. So it's kind of like a big heartbreaker for her.
There's an irony to also the fact that the person who doesn't want to be king
is better suited.
It's better suited. Yeah. And
He
that's
is better
typically the
suited.
way it is because, like we said before, the golden rule is most kings are not fit for power because they cling to life. And therefore, they will do anything to stay alive. Jon does not fear death. Daenerys does.
Yeah, clearly Jon doesn't fear death.
Jon does not
he's
fear
been
death.
He died already. What he got to
He's
fear?
been there.
Jon
Done
does
that.
not fear
Been there,
death.
done that.
Daenerys fears death. Even before Jon died, he didn't fear death.
Right. He was like, I'm gonna do this if they. He just knew this is what had to be
Even
done.
despite the fact that you guys are underhanded, dirty, I'm still gonna fight fair and still do it like that. He never feared
He
death.
sticks to his code, I'll
No,
give
he
him that.
didn't.
But
just like his dad.
you're an honorable
Yeah.
man. It's going to get you killed. But anyway,
well,
It
just
did.
like
Yeah.
his adopted
Again.
He
dad.
cut off too. Oh,
again,
wow. If he was to die, you think he'll die a similar death like Ned Stark did with his head being chopped off?
That would be some actual good
If.
writing from D&D,
dramatic irony.
but
Some
Yeah.
dramatic irony.
I don't see that happening.
I will
No.
say the only
I feel
way.
like you know what I'm saying. I feel like there's going to be I feel like he's going to have an epiphany, and his naivete is going to start coming towards an end.
It needs to. He needs to
He's
get
going
with the
because you know
program.
he's learning. He's been learning more and more through every season, and he's become that. He's not that baby faced boy he was in that first
He's
season.
full
That's
Baby.
true. You know, the thing that will open his eyes if he sees that Daenerys have went on and allowed the dragon to destroy innocent people.
She's going to go off the deep end. It's like, that's what I'm afraid of. It's
That I think she's actually pushed, and I think that's unfair for them, for the writers to put her in a predicament like that, to cause her to go into the sea of madness, if you will.
they're
Yeah.
trying to really gas up the whole
Yeah.
Mad Queen bit. And I just don't think it's
I
fair
can
that
see it
people
in her
are,
eyes, though.
I don't think it's fair that people are telling her that making her into the Mad Queen based on her family. If everybody were judged by the crimes of their family, we all would be dead. That's what gets on my nerves, that
Oh,
people are
good
basing
point.
her madness on
Yeah.
the madness of her father.
Yeah.
That's what I don't think is fair.
Yeah.
She does have the potential for good. It's in her, but I think what could actually work is if she was willing to marry Jon, he could distemper that. There'd be a perfect balance for each other. But right now she's in this state of paranoia where she's not thinking clearly.
But to be fair though, it's like, you know what I'm saying, they're basing him being, you know what I'm saying, they're basing her being the Mad Queen off of her father, but it's like she always, you know what I'm saying, their family has a history of becoming crazy because of the inbreeding.
Hey, that inbreeding is
You know what I'm saying? And Jon he's the exception because he only has half of Targaryen blood. So it's
Okay.
like,
And possibly so does Tyrion.
yeah, there you have it. So it's like,
Okay.
you know, I've always been a firm believer that I believe Tyrion might be sitting on the Iron Throne.
Tyrion
at the
about to
end of
die.
all this.
Oh, well, really?
the way the
You
writers
think
are
so?
going, I
Right.
wouldn't be surprised. Like, hey, we're just winging it now.
Right, because at this point, since Daenerys ain't going to her in the direction you want her to, everyone else has to die too.
That's how I'm feeling. Burn down King's Landing. Honest to God, that's really how I feel at this point.
I ain't gonna lie to you.
Burn it
That,
down.
that might be one thing I am agreeing with you.
Burn.
because
Burn it down.
It's like it's
Burn
like
it
it's like
down.
it's like how it was in Castlevania, man. It's like, dude, you killed Dracula's wife. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm coming back to kill all you
Burn it
guys.
off.
It's like I know you didn't do it, but you
Burn.
watched it. So if you didn't stop it,
Yeah.
you're just
It's
as
like all
guilty.
those civilians that ran to King's Landing for protection. It's like, you know, Cersei isn't a good person, so why run into her?
That's what I said. So there's no smart people in King's Landing at all.
Like, I would be trying to get as far away from King's Landing as possible.
Exactly.
Okay, so to wrap up on the Game of Thrones bit, quick predictions for episode 5.
They're gonna destroy King's Landing. It's gonna go up in smoke. It's
I'm hoping for. It's like at the same time I want her to destroy King's Landing, but I don't want her to be that Mad Queen. I don't want to watch I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch it, but I'm
gonna be
hoping for
sad.
it.
You know the
gonna
crazy
be
part?
sad.
It's like they're, you know what I'm saying, at this point do you believe she has the power to just totally crush King's Landing?
Not with one dragon.
You can't just use your dragon all willy nilly.
Yeah, they got to figure out.
And they
those
behind
ballistas.
the wall, and they're already behind the wall. So it's like, no dragons coming in there. This is a no-fly zone.
They got to figure out something with those ballistas, which I'm sure Tyrion can do.
Yeah, I think that's gonna happen. Well, my prediction is that the Hound and the Mountain.
Clegane Bowl.
Clegane Bowl.
Bring it on. Thank you for listening to Cool Nerds Unite podcast. We at Cool Nerds Unite would like to thank you for your continued support. If you have comments or suggestions, email us at coolnerdsunite@gmail.com. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Listen to us on iTunes, Podbean, SoundCloud, and Spotify. And remember, stay nerdy.